In this video, I will be talking about my ideology of education and what I believe makes up education for children to fulfill at their fullest within educational settings. I have been inspired by many key thinkers in which I have studied within the EDU 22 topic within educational studies, which have allowed me to be creative and have my knowledge on what makes up education. I believe there are many ways in which education should be focused upon, and so that different approaches can be made. The ways in which it is looked at as an individual, the society, and the knowledge. It is important for children to be able to leave school gaining the fullest knowledge that they are able to. It is also important that children are taught in a way in which they will be able to acknowledge their own learning and abilities and have a comfortable setting in which they are able to thrive in. Education is an important part in an individual's life and should be taught in a way in which all children are able to learn from. Throughout my ideology, I mainly base my ideas on what I believe is important for a teacher, how lessons are taught, and the setting in which it is done. I have mostly been inspired by a Steiner-styled education towards children's ideas amongst the ideas from Romantic thinkers too. The main points that I'm going to be talking about are the qualities of teaching, creativity, outdoor learning, child-centered learning, diversity, and the needs of the whole child and their well-being. Throughout my education that I have had through growing up, and the placements that I have took part in, I am able to look at my first idea, the quality of teaching. I believe that it is important for the teacher to be confident and respectful towards children, as it will enable students to give the respect back. Teachers should show their authority and set rules in place so that children know what should be followed. Children's education should be structured in a mannered way and follow the curriculum in which is set to help them focus on the areas to help them be prepared for the future, as well as learning about themselves and the people around them. I believe that a teacher should work with their students so that learning styles can be created for each individual, so that children are able to reach their full potential and are able to have set tasks for their learning ability looked at. They should also be prepared before lessons and provide the right resources for children who may struggle with learning difficulties or a disability. It is also important for children to learn that they don't need to compete with their peers when being assessed. Grades should be kept confidential and exams and assessments should take place to help children to improve on their learning, and so teachers are able to know where they may have problems. This will allow teachers to teach children to their specific area of need so that they are able to reach their full potential. I believe that having small examinations such as multiple questions and a few written questions after topics have been covered and learned are ideal for children, as they will be able to challenge themselves on how much they have learned and will prepare them for the final examinations that they would have. I believe that they shouldn't be put into place to cause stress, but to be taught to help children gain their confidence and correct their errors to help improve themselves. This will result in them having an impact on the examinations in which they do overall at the end of the year or course, as they will be able to gain their confidence in their ability to answer questions. One way in which I believe from my years of being a student within school settings is that it can be effective for teachers to teach their lessons using the idea of becoming more creative. When I created and thought about my ideology, I wanted to show this creativity can be effective by drawing my own images, as it made it become easier for me to find my ideas on what I believe is important, and from these images I was able to draw on from these ideas. Having creativity brought into the curriculum will enable children to extend on their thinking and challenge their learning, as well as helping them understand more about what is being taught. Creativity is his idea of Steiner education, which I have been influenced by, and it sees the artistic activity as well as the development as an important part to learning, as it consists of being artistic, practical and intellectual. It also enables the teacher to bring the learning alive through stories and imagination. For a Steiner education, creativity and the exercise of imagination lie at the heart of integrated learning at every stage. Children have access to a variety of natural materials which are used for imaginative play or other activities. They are involved in both artistic and domestic activities. This type of education is what I think is ideal for children. Instead of being in a classroom listening and writing, they are able to be hands-on, which would help them who are more practical and learn through being a kinesthetic learner. It will also encourage them into wanting to learn and be engaged with lessons. I also believe that having lessons brought into outdoor learning can allow children to have their own free play and independent learning through the environment and a different setting. It gives them a sense of adventure to learn about what is around them through exploring and a sense of independence. This type of learning links in with Romantic thinkers' principles as it can be seen that outdoor learning can be just as effective as it can within a classroom, as they are able to be hands-on with their discoveries and experiment upon them. Two romantic thinkers that I have looked at, Rousseau and Pestalozzi, have influenced my ideas as they saw childhood as a time of innocence where children should grow up in harmony with nature. Pestalozzi specifically focused upon the need of teachers to take their children out into the nature so as to improve their listening skills, as well as offering them an opportunity of resilience and freedom, which I believe is true as it stimulates the children's brains more to the outside world. My next point focuses on the way in which education should have a child-centered approach. Like in Finland, I believe children should have an input to their learning to an extent, so they feel more involved as well as being treated like an adult for those who are in a secondary school-based setting. It helps to build upon their equal opportunities and give them an active conception of their own learning. Teachers should also give their children some freedom to their learning and trust them to discover and apply what they believe is necessary when in lessons. They should be self-motivated to be able to make their own decisions and not exploit this, such as through disruption to others and not completing the work which has been set. However, giving children this responsibility helps them to grow upon their skills and abilities and be able to explore them at their own pace and in their own way. Teachers should help to give guidance towards this to an extent, and for those who may struggle more so that the best outcome can be reached. Children in Finland, for example, were also asked about the curriculum reform between 2014 to 2017, as it was believed that it was important to reflect upon students' experience. It enabled staff to see what the children believed should be changed and improved from their perspective, which I think helps to build on the children's thoughts. They're able to make decisions about the curriculum in which they will learn and how it's taught, which is important because they will feel part of the decision and be able to expand on their learning. Children should be taught about their diversity and the different cultures and religions within their community, and how they should respect their peers around them despite of who they are. I believe there should be more discussions into topical areas which are around the world and the different values in which people may have. It should be put in place within the schooling system so that each student and parents are welcome to the school setting. The idea of learning about diversity also links in with Steiner education, as equality should be promoted so that everyone has the same opportunity, which I believe is important as each child should be treated the same and be given the same resources and decision-makings, for example, despite who they are. Diversity should be looked at and reflected upon through individuals' ethnicity, age, faith, disability, sexual orientation, gender and socio-economic group, including the staff and any parents or carers. Steiner influenced my choice of ideology as he opposed to all forms of discrimination against any person or group of people on the grounds of race, gender, faith, disability, age and sexual orientation, and is committed to promoting equality of opportunity and reflecting the diversity of the children, staff and parents served by Steiner Waldorf schools. I believe that having diversity taught towards children will allow a full understanding of the difference within individuals and how this shouldn't affect their everyday lives. For my final point, I believe that the children's well-being is important when it comes to learning. It is vital that the emotional and social well-being of others is taught so that children understand how they should respect one another. The well-being of a child should become an important area when teaching, to know the children and the way in which lessons may affect them individually. Lessons should be looked at before to ensure that the teacher has the knowledge in the ways it can cause these effects, as it can impact how the child feels emotionally and socially. Each child should be focused upon and ensured the right support is there if there is an issue which has been affected. Teachers should also teach their students on the issues of bullying, as this can also affect someone's well-being and self-esteem, which can have an impact on the way they focus within lessons and their grades. Having this knowledge can improve a child's time during education, enabling children to learn about the effects of a variety of ways in which the well-being can be affected and how it can be prevented. So overall, my ideology of education is that there should be a different approach to educational settings, giving children opportunities to explore outside and inside the classroom with a creative side to their learning. Teachers should be giving the right quality of teaching to children and also giving them and input into their education, as well as teaching them about respect and diversity within the classroom and within the community around them. Children should also be aware of their own well-being and others, preventing bullying and lower self-esteem. It is also important so that the child is able to interact and confide in someone, so that different resources or help can be put into place to improve their well-being. My ideology has mostly based on Steiner education schools and romantic thinkers, as I have been influenced by the ideas of how education should be taught in today's world.